mcorgic@bellsouth.net, or you can call us at 954-763-9105. This public service announcement is brought to you by Cooperation for Restoring Families Incorporated and this radio station. Together, we can.
Gospel united today. It's the Gospel Show, a variety talk show with a Christian view. Your host, Nikki P, featuring open discussion, event spotlight, and special guests. Tune in weekdays 3 times a day. Wake up for the morning show at 7 a.m. Tune in for the midday show at 3:30 p.m. and ride home with the evening show at 6 p.m. and Saturdays at 10 a.m. The Gospel.
Shine on me. Yeah, you tune in to Guts, Gospel United Safe, a variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. Left off talking about some of these ideas that people thought weren't going to work. In other words, some of the things that we use them today, we are involved in today, we couldn't live without it today, but yet, when the idea first was proposed, there was negative attacks on it, and if they had let the negative attacks keep them from doing what they knew was good, we wouldn't have those things today. Benjamin Franklin was told by experts to stop all that foolish experimenting with lightning. It was a waste of time, they said. Madame Curie was urged by experts to forget the scientifically impossible idea of radium. Laurence Olivier was earnestly advised by a sincere theatrical expert to give up plans for a career in the theater because he just didn't have what it took to be a good actor. Yeah, no doubt, way back in the dim underside of time, a stubborn caveman kept insisting he could start the world's first man-made fire. All around him, wise graybeards shook their heads and mumbled, "He's not all there." Somebody ought to tell him that it just will not work. Today, we are still having difficulty with that flat world. With those people who have that flat world perception, with those people that have that negative impetus. Many of our accepted assumptions have a tendency to stifle creativity and the achievement of our true potential. To crystallize our understanding of this subtle form of negativism, here are some flat world statements. Now, you may not, when you hear them, you're going to go, I never thought of that as negative. Here are some flat world statements, some negative statements that keep creativity down, keep positivity down, produce negative things, do not bring about a winning attitude. Leaders are born, not made. That's a flat world idea, because you can make a good leader. Oh, I know that. Now they're going to be born. No, some leaders can be created, can be made, can be brought to bear from the proper influence. Nice guys finish last. Oh, that's why you don't want to be nice. You want to be rude because you don't want to finish last. It's not what you know, but who you know. So you don't want to know much. You just want to find out how many people you can network with so that you can know enough folks that you won't be in the dark. Who do you know? Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you why I deal with that, or how I deal with that statement. I know God, and He is the majority. So who I know makes the difference, and I know God. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, so you don't even try, right? Because when you see somebody who's old, you say, "Oh, forget it, they're old. They're too old to change. They're too old to know something new." So you don't even bother presenting them with ideas that could make them better, that could help them. No, because they're old, right? Flat world statements. When we become conditioned to perceive truths and closed to new possibilities, especially positive possibilities, this is what happens. We see what we expect to see and not what we can see. I'm going to say that again because I know somebody said, huh? We see what we expect to see, not what we can see. Because you can see more than what's there. But oftentimes we only see what we expect to see. We have selective seeing, if you will, because I know people talk about selective hearing. You see, or your mind takes in only that which is interesting to you, what you expect to see, and not what all that you can see. We hear what we expect to hear and not what we can hear. We think what we expect to think and not what we can think. So how do you make your flat world round? How do you take negativity and become a more positive person? How do you squash the storm of negativity that would kill your winning attitude so that you might be able to survive the storm and become who God has designed for you to be? Identify the reason why you're a flat world person. Why is it that you think the things you think? What is it that you need to change in your perception so that you might actually be able to see reality? Identify the areas which you think are flat world. Identify what things you find a hard time looking at positively. I can never lose weight. I'm going to always be fat. I'm just always fat, stupid, dumb. Yeah. Find out what it is that you have a hard time dealing with, and then begin to challenge yourself to look at yourself differently. Identify people who can help you to change this limiting thought process. Continually check up on your progress. Read and listen to positive self-help books and tapes. Accept very few dogmatic extreme statements. Yeah, those always and never statements that people like to make. Always you make mistakes. You always say things wrong. You're always yelling at people. You never clean your room. You never walk the dog. You never exercise. Try to accept very few of those statements because they're not true. Anytime you see always or never in a true or false statement, usually it's a false statement because there's something that makes that not true. Because somewhere along the way, there's something that contradicts the always and never, right? And generally so. That's why you can't even say that's always true because there's going to be something that will contradict that as well. Place all statements made into their proper context. Take into account the source of the statement. Who said it? Because if God didn't say it about you, Jesus didn't say it about you, the Holy Ghost didn't say it about you, if it's just somebody arbitrary who thinks they know something, check it out. Find out if it lines up with what God is saying about who you are, about what you are, about what you do. Remember, experience can limit your perspective rather than expand it. Yes, that's right. Experience sometimes can be a limiting teacher because before you experienced something, you thought you could do it, right? So before a child put their hand on a hot stove, they didn't know it was hot, so they weren't afraid of it. They didn't have any reverence, nor fear, nor respect for it, right? So they would do things, right? So most babies and most children they're not afraid of a lot of things because they don't have the experience to know that those things could hurt them. So experience sometimes can limit your perspective because you found out that that thing is dangerous, right? So you don't even think about how to circumvent the danger. What is possible is not always achieved quickly and endorsed enthusiastically. And that's something we really have to hold on to. The things that are possible are not always achieved quickly and endorsed enthusiastically. Some things people just don't really just hop on board right away, especially if it's too new. It's probably possible. Probably can be done, but nobody's done it before, so maybe it's not so possible. Let me let you hold on to this thought because we're going to close out the broadcast today. A flat world mindset allows us to sleep on top of it. A round world mindset allows us to keep moving around it. What do you want to do? Sleep on top of it and move around it. It's up to you. You can do better or do worse. On tomorrow, we're going to talk about changing of your attitude, learning how to do it, learning how to get the right perspective, developing the right understanding, becoming better people. And thank you again for tuning into the broadcast. You are tuning into Guts, Gospel United to Save, a variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus as we're getting out of here. Syria asked the United Nations to stop U.S. strike. Syria has asked the United Nations to prevent any aggression against Syria following a call over the weekend by the U.S. President Barack Obama for punitive strikes against the Syrian military for last month's chemical weapons attack. That's just a little news you can use. Something I find interesting. Maybe you will as well. And a thought that I would love to leave with you on today again is Proverbs 21:3. To do justice and judgment is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. Meditate on that today. Think about it. You tune in to Guts, Gospel United to Save, a variety talk show with a Christian point of view, hoping that you will have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus. We want to remind you, like the Fearsome brothers say, I trust God. Until next time, this is Nikki V saying, have the guts to tell somebody about Jesus.
I trust in God. Gospel United to Save. It's the Guts Gospel Show, a variety talk show with a Christian view. Your host, Nikki B, featuring open discussion, event spotlights, and special guests. Tune in weekdays. Wake up for the morning show at 7 a.m. The Guts Gospel Show, a variety talk show with a Christian view with your host, Nikki B, right here